Good morning, church. Amy here. Welcome to the 18th day of our 21-day fast. That means we have just 3 days left on this corporate fast journey together as a family. And I hope that so many of you have got so many wonderful testimonies to share, words spoken to you by God, and just new perspectives and outlooks on certain things that maybe God has revealed to you over this time. Today, though, we are going to talk about discouragement. And discouragement is one of the temptations that is not uncommon to man. It's actually common to man according to the scriptures. So if you'll turn with me to 1 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 13, it says that no temptation has overtaken you except such as is common to man. But God is faithful, who will not allow you to be tempted beyond what you are able, but with the temptation will also make the way of escape that you might be able to bear it. And as we know, He has given us many tools to be able to overcome these temptations, especially while doing this fast. Many of you will recall that even Jesus himself was tempted by the devil during a 40-day wilderness fast. And none of these were not common to man. And one of them was discouragement. And in dealing with discouragement, there are times where we need tenderness and there are times where we maybe need toughness. But either way, discouragement is a battle to be fought with our weaponry that He has given us to overcome these temptations. You know, if we linger in discouragement for too long, it can be costly. Its sense of defeat and hopelessness can just sap us of our energy and our vision. And the purpose for the fast in the first place, as we discussed in previous devotionals, there is a major purpose, and you never want to be distracted from that vision or that purpose. And sometimes discouragement this far into your fast could be the very thing that sort of creeps in and allows for you to be tempted. And so when we feel discouraged, we want comfort, right? We're right to feel that way, of course, but the comforts that we turn to are often ways that would allow us to maybe avoid our fears or disallow us from mustering up the courage that we need to use to face them. And when this happens, discouragement just becomes a simple indulgence in unbelief. That's no different really than indulging in lust or anger or any of the other sins of disbelief. And in our case right now with the fast, that might be indulgences in particular types of food that might bring us comfort, or even regular scheduled activities or unscheduled activities like scrolling your phone and going through social media. Jesus did not want us to be discouraged. In fact, He commands that we not be. Listen to what Jesus says to His disciples just before what is probably the most discouraging experience of their entire lives, right before experiencing His very brutal death. Turn with me to John 14:1 this morning. The words of Christ are bolded in red, and it says, "Let not your heart be troubled. You believe in God, and believe also in me." Notice His words here are "let not." These aren't just comforting words. These are actually commands of the Lord to His disciples and ultimately to us. He knew that they would be tempted by fear and that things were going to look pretty bad and that the whole mission was about to implode, so they thought. And so what did He say to them? Instead of to be afraid, He told them to believe. Believe in God and believe in me. In other words, don't let your hearts be troubled by what you see, but let them be ruled by what I promised you. And that's what He's saying to us as well. So what's tempting you to discouragement today? Are you having a hard time believing that God really will work out these bad things that you see for your good because it looks so bad to you? Well, then it's time to fight. Not to pout, not to shrink. Think of discouragement as your faith being choked. And when you're choking, it's not the time to just plop down in front of the TV with a plate of comfort food and medicate this situation. No, you need to dislodge the food, the obstruction, so that you can breathe again. You need to fight for life. You may need to go get someone to give you the Heimlich maneuver and help you. So the advice is to go get encouragement. Don't just sit and wallow in that moment of discouragement, but instead go seek out where you can be encouraged. And this could be simply meetings together, or some friendly fellowship, or time with the Lord and soaking prayer in a physical presence of someone else. God gave us these scriptures for us to read as well, for us to get encouragement from, so that we might have hope. It says amazing things like, who shall separate us from the love of Christ? Shall tribulation or distress or persecution or famine or nakedness or danger or sword? No. In all of these things, we are more than conquerors through him who loved us. So don't let your hearts be ruled by what you see. Let it be ruled by what Jesus promises you. John 16:33 says, I have said these things to you, that in me you may have peace. In the world you will have tribulation, but take heart, because I have overcome the world. We know that he has given us the weaponry that we need in order to fight this battle and fight the temptation of discouragement. So now pick up your swords and go get encouragement. And I'll see you in 3 more days with all of the testimonies and amazing stories of things that God has spoken to you through this fast. God bless, church.